Network of awareness makes your brain coherent. One of the fastest growing podcasts. You can hear it 24/7. Got listeners out in London, informationalists in Paris. The echo spreading out, no parrot. Just dissect, digest, and share it. The righteous rhymes hit the spirit. Click 90 times, it won't perish. Cause y'all's the mind ain't no fairy tale like the belly our parents. It's time to rise, don't get wary. United minds, it's apparent. Download every single errand, but most ain't fit to catch it, even if they were Larry. Interviews, the interludes, they into you, taking you on a journey like no other. It places you in a state of awareness. It's your fault if you hate the truth, cause Yahweh been Yahweh's on his way, my brother. Better change your views. All praise to Yah.
All right, peace and greetings, people. You're now tuned in to a live broadcast of the Network of Awareness. I'm your host, owner and founder of the Network of Awareness. And today we got a great show. We're going to talk about the curiosity of life. And I'm about to introduce the owner and the host of the Curiosity Chamber. And it goes by the name of Jay Barone. And I'm just going to have a discussion with the brother. As many of you know, I was on his show last week. So we're streaming on Instagram. We're also streaming audibly on Spreaker.com, on my Spreaker site for all of my Spreaker listeners. And then, of course, we're on YouTube and on my Twitter account. So you can go to Aura_Noah or go to Aura, the information list, the Network of Awareness on YouTube, or you can go on Spreaker, or you can go to view us on Instagram at networkawareness.com, the number 1. Now, people, we're going to have a discussion about the curiosity of life. So this is going to be a deep discussion about self-awareness, social awareness, and we're also going to get to know Jay Barone a lot more. So that way, many of you that listen to my show can get to know him a little bit better. That way you can get to listen to his show and get some great substance from it. So let's get this show started right. Let's get this show started quickly.
Please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
All right, let's give him a warm round of applause here. Let's get him an amp clap here.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Jay. How you doing, brother?
Appreciate it, or I'm doing good, man. I'm chilling. But after hearing your introduction, dog, I gotta step up my game, I think. Mine's nothing like that, bro.
Hey, man, listen, if you want some help, I can definitely help you. I mean, that's what I do. I do a lot of audio engineering, mixing, and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I heard you said that the last time, man. I'm pretty interested in that, so I will be hitting you up for sure. It's a good intro.
Yeah, thank you, brother. So if you can just give a quick introduction to who you are and what you do, your show for the listeners around the world.
Yeah. So I'm Jay Barone with the Curiosity Chamber. I've been doing that for about 3 years now. So my show, what I do is I invite a guest each episode, and it's going to be various. So it doesn't have to be anything in particular. Whatever I find interesting, I'm going to invite you on, and we're just going to kick it. We're just going to talk. We're going to talk about what you expertise in. And I mean, most of the stuff I'm interested in, man, is like ghost hunting. I'm interested in cryptocurrency. I'm interested in like if there's that powers that be that control everything behind the scenes, shit like that, man. So, I mean, I think it's it's wonderful to talk to new people because it's like opening a brand new book. You only know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. So I'm trying to grow. That's how I grow.
Okay, that's good to hear, brother. So what made you want to get into starting the Curiosity Chamber? Like, what was the biggest inspiration for you to say, I'm going to do this? And also, if you can add on how you even came up with the name of the Curiosity Chamber, which I think is an awesome name for a podcast, by the way.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, man, the Joe Rogan podcast, right? Inspiration to most of us. I heard that. I'm like, man, if I can just get some people to talk, that would be dope. So, I started to email people. I used Instagram to try and reach out and see if there was like anything possible there, see if I would get some response back. Lo and behold, I did. People were interested to talk as much as I wanted to speak with them. The Curiosity Chamber, I mean, I'm just a curious dude by nature. Like, I'm always asking people questions. I want to know what makes people tick. Like, what makes people drive. I'm just so curious in the aspects of life because all I know is my shoes, man. What I've lived, my experiences, how I grew up. That's all I know. There's so much life out there. And fun fact, I'm about to go out of country for the first time ever, December 1st, for about 3 weeks. I haven't picked a destination yet. I think I'm going to go to Japan or Greece or Spain, something, but it's going down. This will be the first time ever that I'm dipping out of the United States. I mean, how could you possibly grow if you just stay here? If you just stay local, you can't. There's too much life out there, man. I got to get out there. So I'm excited to do that, brother.
Okay. So you really haven't picked a destination yet?
No. You have you got any tips for me?
Honestly, I think, my personal opinion, I think that traveling is somewhat dangerous these days just because of all of the science compliance people out there. And I don't know if you remembered me telling this, but I had a guy coughing on me on the plane, and I haven't been on a plane in a while, and I wound up getting sick when I got back from New Orleans. But honestly, hold on a second. I'm over here. I gotta, sorry, brother.
No,
I gotta remember to unmute myself. So people weren't even hearing me. So I'm over here talking and people can't hear me on the live stream. Sorry about that.
Lost your voice?
No, I have myself on mute because I'm unmuted on couple. But just to reiterate for those that couldn't hear me, I just wanted to say that it's just very dangerous no matter where you travel. But I think it's good that you're going out of the country to get to see certain places because there's a great possibility that you may like one of these places and want to move there and get out of the United Shenanigans of America. Because I have family that has property in Colombia, and I might move there. Yeah, I might move there. But
how many times you been there?
Never.
Okay.
But I have the option to live there if I want to. And also be protected by the locals at the same time. So I wouldn't have any problems.
That's a big piece of it, right?
Yeah. Because it's through my oldest brother or whatever. But that's not definite because there's a big part of me that actually wants to stick it out in this chaos. Like
I know.
That warrior side of me is like, whatever's gonna come, I'm just gonna face it without fear, Because I know that shit's gonna hit the fan here in the United Shenanigans of America. I know it is.
Do you think it could be better on the other side though? Like, is the grass always greener on the other side? Something we gotta do some research on, man.
Of course, there's chaos everywhere, right? But what I will say is that outside the United States is different than the United States. It's just different. I think that overseas you have danger, right? Just like any place. But in overseas, and I had a brother by the name of Robert Blank, and he owns a call center in Costa Rica. And there's something that he said to me that was very inspirational, very profound. And he said, when you go outside the United States, people in other countries see your essence. And I think that that's the big difference when you go overseas, where a lot of places, they're going to see you as the person that you are based on your character. Whereas here in the United States, there's going to be a gabillion judgments on you before you even speak,
Yeah.
based on how you look, based on what you have. I mean, it's going to be based on a lot of things because we're so conditioned through our egos to judge people. And that's why when we go to other countries, a lot of times we get fucked up or we get missing because we come with that attitude like, I'm better than you. I'm an American, you know, I'm this, I'm that. And next thing you know, that person's getting robbed or something even worse than that. And it's happening all the time when you look on social media.
It's the one thing I hate, man, is that like you're judged so quickly. Like the appearance of me, like when I go out, if I'm wearing like, I'm going to work, man, like a polo shirt. I mean, I work from home, but when I did go to work, polo shirt, nice pants, like automatically I'm being judged like, yo, this straight white boy that wants nothing to do with anything is probably a bitch, yada, 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 you know? Unless it's not even the case at all. Like, I like to, like, I'm so not like that at all, man. Like, I love everything. Like, why you got to put me in a box just because of the way I look? Like, you see me once what I'm wearing and you already compartmentalize me, right? It shouldn't be like that. But I don't know what it, like you said, man, we're so conditionalized. I hate that shit. I don't think there's a way out of that.
Well, that goes back to the self-awareness thing where it's like people that are successful and are content and are rich in the depth of their worth as a human being here are mostly the people, 9 times out of 10, are the people that don't care about what other people think about them. That's something that Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's not caring about what other people think about you, because then once you do that, that's a freedom like no other, because now whatever it is that you're doing it freely without the anxiety or the worry about what another person thinks of you. And it just allows you to do whatever you want to do in the best way you can.
I agree with that. That's good advice. It's hard to do that if you find them coming toward you, though. Like if you're trying to mind your own business and you're okay with what you do, but you find people stepping up to you because of the way you dress, because of the way you act, because of, you know, fill in the variable. You got people who look at you and then stir up some drama or shit. Would you still say that that's self-inflicting because of something you're doing?
No, that's obviously some form of insecurity that the other person has, right? It's what Joe Rogan and Red Band talked about years ago. When Joe Rogan first started his podcast, he was on his couch, right? Yeah. And I remember Red Band, they were talking about how Michael Jordan is not a hater because when Michael Jordan sees somebody doing something great, it inspires him to want to do something great as well. And they talked about the hater equals unrealized potential. That's what a hater is. And when I first heard that statement, I was like, wow, that made so much sense to me, because that's really what a hater is. It's somebody that doesn't realize the potential within themselves, sees potential within another, but can't see that within themselves. So what do? They go to the lowest common denominator. They go to the easiest thing, the lower nature of man, the lower chakra, which is to hate, which is to envy and to be jealous of. It's something that I've dealt with a lot in my life. You know, I've never been jealous of another man, ever. I can honestly look at you in the eye and tell you, never been jealous of another man. If I see another man that looks good, dresses well, handles himself well, strong, whatever, I'll admire him based on his character, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to look at him as a threat or not see the potential within that man, because I already see potential within myself. Way before I go out the door, I know what my potential is, and I'm trying to elevate that. Unfortunately, most people in society, because of the ego, they don't know how to handle that shit. They don't know how to find the potential within themselves. They're too busy looking outside of themselves instead of looking from within themselves. Something I talk about a lot, because you asked me about the whole self-awareness, about the higher self, about the self. If you don't know who you are, then how can you even function properly? You wind up becoming somewhat of an automaton, where you just like a robot. You're just going by whatever the TV shows you, the commercials, the ads, you know, and that potential never gets realized. So you wind up staying a hater.
People dilute their potential with the chase of money in most cases, right?
I agree.
Like people will sell their souls, man. Like even if it doesn't fit their being, like they'll see, all right, $2,000 to, you know, put this ad on my shit that has nothing to do with me. All right, I'll do it. And then you know what? Your page just starts to fill up with that shit and it has nothing to do with you. That's crazy. That's one thing that I'm trying to like keep my feet at the ground. And like the only thing, like if I ever did an advertisement, like it would have to be, I have to use that product and trust this product and use it myself. Like that's the only way. I'm not sell out, right? I'm not going to fucking sell out. There's no way. How could you look at yourself in the mirror? Money goes, man. Money comes and goes. Money comes and goes.
I agree, man. People will do the let's talk about a story I brought up earlier today on my show about Migos. Now, I normally don't talk about celeb rights, but he's a perfect example. I don't remember the guy's name because I don't follow that type of music, even though I'm a hip hop, Takeoff. I'm a hip hop artist that comes from the early 90s. So I like authentic hip hop. But look at how coincidentally a song came on from Boy Cardi about it's on my phone here. I will look it up. But there's a song that basically is talking about death. And he did an Instagram post moments before he got shot in Texas City.
Really?
Yeah. So he's dead now.
Yeah.
Now he died at 28. For those that don't know, a lot of these are blood sacrifices. These can be blood sacrifices where they made a pact with Satan and they ran out their time. Or it could be another person that's with them. It could be one of the two other artists that are part of the group that sacrificed him to move themselves up. And time will tell because we will see how the other two elevate inside the industry. Because a lot of times one person has to be taken out in order for them to elevate into the order that they're in.
If we see the other two start to elevate and get popular, then like it's a pretty clear sign that they sacrificed.
But they were all in on it. You got to remember, they really preached that 666. Yeah, they all preached that 666 satanic bullshit. You know, like, but put it like this: you can't get to the level that they're at with record sales and money that they make unless you do bond yourself. That's why certain artists become one-hit wonders. Why? Because they didn't want to do the extra shit to get them to propel their career further. So they wind up becoming one-hit wonders. You ever wonder why certain one-hit wonders that were really good never make it? And their first song or their first album was fire, but yet they don't go nowhere. And it's because they don't want to do those homosexual acts, those depriving acts, the casting couch, sleeping with different producers and so on and so forth. That's all being revealed right now.
Yeah.
So he's just another example that there's a thing called Gemandria. It's mathematics in occultism, where certain people get killed at a certain age. So it's not a coincidence that he's getting killed at 28 years old. And this song, I forgot the name of the song because I don't listen to these artists, but this song was literally played right before he died. And the song is about death.
Yeah, it just seemed like a weird time for someone to die, man. Because I was just telling my cousin like earlier today, I'm like, man, this dude's been rich since like 2002 or something. Like, why would he possibly die right now? Like, it really doesn't make sense. And the way I was looking at it, I'm like, why can't you leave that hood shit? Like, and if it's a sacrifice, it's a sacrifice. I don't know too much about this, but my thought was, why, if you're rich for that long, you should be able to leave your past, right? It's been like 20 years since you've been rich and out of the hood. Like, this shit should not be coming up following you. It shouldn't be. So to your point, like it does seem a little sketchy. Like there was something involved in that because it's out of left field, man. Just all of a sudden, Takeoff dies, huh?
Yeah, even with let's go back in time, man. Let's talk about how Eminem ain't the same anymore. Ever since Proof got killed, that was his
True.
sacrifice. You know, and why is it that you do and this is why Satanism and magic, when it comes to magic, the sleight of hand is so it coincides with each other. Because the one thing about the dark forces of principalities when it comes to evil is that there's an order to that. There's universal principles that they have to follow. So most of the time what they do is they show you in advance what they're already going to do. And if you remember, Eminem had the video of Proof getting shot coming out of a bar.
Toy soldiers, yeah.
Yeah, brother. And then what winds up happening, he gets killed. Next thing you know, Eminem, a lot of people say Eminem is a clone, which I believe that to be true because he just don't look the same. He don't rap the same. He don't rap this. That rap god, when he did that, I personally believe from watching the video and all the research that I've done for the past 20 years, that was what you call channeling. He channeled the spirit that came in him to write that song. And usually it's a demonic spirit. Same thing with Jay-Z, where the way he raps, and then it's called Rap God. They actually show you in the video when he goes under possession. And then, you know, when his body drops and he comes back up, reemerges like a phoenix from the ashes type of thing. But that's that spirit emerging within him, channeling. Channeling is something that's been done for the ages. And when he did all that, that was his sacrifice to move up in the industry. But unfortunately, he couldn't handle it. He went into drugs, and then I believe he got cloned after that because he probably OD'd. So they had to take his DNA, reclone him so that they can continue making money off of him. Because certain artists like Eminem, they're not better off dead yet because they still got a lot more to go. So they got to milk that cow until they can't milk it no more.
Do you think the powers that be like to stick it right in our face, like with these music videos and shit?
Yeah, I mean, look at the video with Eminem where Proof got killed. I mean, he got literally killed the same way he gets killed and shot at in the damn video before the actual real death happens. Why is that coincidental when we know, if you ever seen the movie V for Vendetta, one of my favorite flicks when it comes to propaganda, what does he say? There is no such thing as coincidence, only the illusion of it. That's it. So they are showing us.
That's how I feel about choice as well. Like it's an illusion. You don't have choice. It's an illusion of choice.
I don't know about that one, brother. I think we do got freedom of will because I get to choose a lot of things. We get to choose whether we want to be a good person or a piece of shit every day.
I'm looking at in the aspects of like who we choose for government, like shit like that. Like you get a Democrat, Republican. Like you get the illusion of the same
coin. Yep, two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
That's what Alex Jones and David Icke talk about that. Two sides of the same coin. It's the same shit, different toilet. That's all. It's like, which toilet do you want to take a shit in? You taking the same shit, but it's a different toilet. Do you want Trump or do you want Biden? You know, we're going to go back to Trump because Trump is going to make everything better. Our gas is going to go down. We're just going to have happier lives. And it's like, this is the same man who told you to take the freaking vaccine. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Like, dude, it crosses over so many times. Like the Republican does like Democratic shit. And then like they keep crossing over and I just don't pay attention to it anymore because I caught on to their bullshit. Like during the pandemic, I'm like, all right, they just completely switched sides. And now, like, they're arguing about the same shit that they once upon a time were preaching about. Like, it's fucking madness. It's so upsetting and infuriating that I just don't even pay attention to it anymore. I can't. It's nonsense.
When did you start your podcast?
I originally started it in 2019. And then I cut off for about a year and then I started back up in June
of 2020.
Yeah.
That's when I officially got off my ass and committed to this. Was in June 9th was my first official episodes, because I kept doing episodes and erasing them and, like kind of battling with myself from January on. But what I was going to ask you about that is, when you reemerged from when you first started and you went back to it, was it everything that was going on that you was like, hey, I gotta start the show back up? Or was there another reason why you started the show back up?
It might have been. Subconsciously, it might have been. But I was just in my house so much. I'm like, why don't I just start this podcast up and like actually like stick with it for years and see where it goes? It could have been, man, subconsciously, just seeing everyone being lazy and just playing Xbox and just not doing shit. I mean, that really changed me. I'm like, I need to, like, that's not the type of person I am. I like to motivate. I like to talk to people. I'm outgoing. Like, I have to have these conversations. I can't just sit on my ass and watch TV or play Xbox. I have to develop something. I have to create something. That's what it is. I have to create something. I don't care what it is. And Xbox wasn't doing it for me, so.
Yeah, I used to play Xbox when I was younger. Yeah, I used to be really into it.
yeah. It could be
very addictive.
It's very addictive, man. Yeah, I got friends that do that, and it's just like when they're not working, they're playing Xbox. I'm just like, that's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down, because it's very hard to get out. I mean, it's so stimulating. It's so stimulating, but what is it doing for you? It's not bettering you in any kind of way.
True, I believe that. Unless the only people I truly respect too that are doing that are the ones that are making money off of it and doing it for a living.
Sure.
That's a whole different story. But yeah, for the people that are coming home.
Small percentage, right?
Yeah. Because I got a friend that I love dearly, you know what I'm saying? And he's already well into his 30s and still, plays Xbox every day and has been doing it for a long time. You know what I mean? And it's not so much that it's not so much that I'm saying, hey, you're a piece of shit because you play Xbox all the time when you're not at work or whatever. But it does stunt your growth, spiritually, because
I agree.
You're like you were like, I got to create something. And when you start to create, and we all are capable of creating something. Doesn't matter what the hell we do. I don't care if you work at McDonald's, or if you work at a paper mill, if you're a truck driver, if you're in sales, we can always create. That's how we were created. We're created to be creators. So there's no excuse. I think that one of the saving graces and the blessings, like what you went through and many others, like myself too, because I used to be an insurance broker / agent or whatever you want to call it. And I just had got a position. I just got a position in the end of 2019 going into 2020 as a director of a whole entire region. And I was already put in position to make a shitload of money. We're talking about low 6-figure income, and I just was like, is this what I want to do? And then when the pandemic came, I'm like, there's some real shit going on. I got to live my purpose. I got to do what I'm meant to do, because I'm already in my 40s and I can't waste no more time just working just to make money, to just do everyday, regular, average shit when I know I'm not an average dude. And I took a fucking huge pay cut, a huge drop in income. But what it did was it fulfilled my spirit to something more meaningful.
Yeah.
That's now put me on a path to where I could still make that money. I just got to work a lot harder to get there. But I'm doing it independently, opposed to working for the man.
You're not a corporate slave.
Exactly. Right? That corporate slave shit is real.
Kills your spirit, dude. Any like passions that you had, any ideas of you owning your own business or whatever, that goes out the window, man. Because you get that paycheck, and it does enough to just settle you, right? You don't have to work a little bit harder. You're getting this comfort zone, man. And I like to use this analogy. Like if you're just sitting on your couch, right? And you live in a shitty ass house, like a shitty ass apartment, and you got some mold growing on your ceiling, just a little bit of mold though. You're not going to do shit about it because you're lazy. You live in that piece of that house that you're living in and you see the mold start to grow a little bit. It's not toxic. That won't kill me. I'll just stay here. It's fine. It's fine. Once that mold gets out of fucking control, then you will do something, right? So if it's just like borderline not bugging you, it's there though. Like mold is terrible. It's there though. You won't do shit because you're comfortable. Sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone.
Very true, brother. Very true. And shout outs to Sister Nama. Thank you for joining the show. What do you think? What do you think is because you're about a decade younger than me, so you're seeing things from a whole different generation.
True.
And I always like to gain the perspective of the younger adults like yourself. What do you think right now? Because you're a father, all right. What do you think is the biggest challenge here in the United Shenanigans of America?
Where technology is leading us as far as like social media, where that's going. Because like when you were a kid, probably the bullying stops when you left school, man. Now it's just constant. It's just you're on your phone 24/7. And I think what it's doing is it's ruining the confidence of kids by all means. And confidence goes such a long way. Like, dude, when I go to the gym nowadays, like these kids' heads are like down like this, looking at their phones when I go to check in, and they don't even say hi to me. Back when I was a kid, like working at that front desk, because I worked at the gym working front desk. I'm saying hi to everyone and manually typing in their keys and shit to come enter the gym, saying hi. Like something's gone, man. It's kind of scary. I don't like seeing it. So there's like a confidence that's gone and a respect factor. Not saying that I deserve the respect, but shit, man, at least say hi to me. Like the human factor. Like interact with me. Don't interact with your phone. Even when you're working, that's supposed to be the time when you're away from your phone. Interact with humans. Something's going on. There's a valuable piece of like seeing someone, hugging someone, being face to face, having human interaction. That's another reason why I love the podcast, man. Just to have these conversations, just to talk to somebody, right? I think it does so much value. And that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about with kids growing up, that they're going to stop interacting with humans. And that's scary as fuck, dude.
Yeah. And that's what the whole transhumanism movement is all about. It's all by design. It's all to get people to become more robotic, to become more like plugged into the matrix. And that's why in that last Matrix movie, which I thought was garbage, but there was some good dialogue within the movie, where my favorite part when the architect, which was played by Neil Patrick Harris,
yeah,
he's like, they love it here. They don't want to be unplugged. That statement is really what you're seeing a lot of, like those people that have their heads in their phones like that. They don't want to be unplugged. And what's happening is desensitizing people from having meaningful relationships. I know it's done that to my child. My child is 20 years old right now. And even though she's in a relationship and she's engaged and everything, but there's still that she grew up in that era where the text messaging, and this was a problem when text messaging came into the fold for me. When I was already an adult by the time text messaging became popular. And I remember dating where it was like, if I was dating a woman that was into text messaging, I'm like, yo, I can't mess with you. Because how the hell am I going to get to know you if we're going to get to know each other through text messaging, which is very, extremely impersonal. Yeah. And it sends a lot of mixed messages too, depending on how a text message is sent.
Exactly, man. The context is not there. You don't know.
The context gets misconstrued. And also sometimes the text gets fucked up. You want to text something or you speak it out. And that's another thing. Like they haven't figured out a technology that can get your text voice speech accurate every single time. Because you could say one thing and it'll say some off the wall shit. And this happened to me where I've said some off the wall shit.
When they put a chip in your brain, it'll be working good then, bro.
Listen, speaking of that, let's touch on the science appliance, right? Which we know we don't say the actual V word. That's blasphemy here on the Network of Awareness. We can call it the vaccine, the Maxine, the science appliance, the journey, the walk. Just don't call it the other word. But speaking of that, came across some information today that people that have been inoculated with the vaccine have this digital coding in them. Okay. Now, I've seen it with people where they'll put a phone or a Bluetooth and it activates. It's some weird shit that's going on. I saw the guy who was putting magnets. I don't know if you saw that guy back in 2000.
Yeah.
He had the magnets on him, right? So I was like, oh shit, this shit is some off the wall serum. I call it the satanic serum, right? But what I found out today, and I don't know if they have this in Chicago, but that purple fluorescent light that you have in the background of your podcast, right? Have you seen that lighting on the roads? Because where I live in Florida, there's a section under this overpass that has these kind of purple kind of beaming lights that come to that beam down to the floor. And when you pass it in your car, it's scanning you. Well, I found out that same purple light that's all throughout the United States on certain roads is going to be able to scan those that have been science appliance, and is going to be able to read them like a damn barcode. So they're going to be able to know through that scanning system, that light, that fluorescent or ultraviolet, whatever light you want to call it, who is got it and who doesn't.
So are we talking about like you'll be banned from traveling, like from border lines, perhaps?
I mean, I don't even know. All I know is that this Agenda 2030 is so fucking real. But what keeps me sane is that I know it's spiritual warfare. So my belief system in the Most High and to a higher power, it brings me great confidence to know that even in my last day, that I'm going to be just fine, that there's nothing to worry about, that this wicked force, from my perception, will never win. They may look from afar, from our perception, the way things are going now, as bad as they are, may look like they're winning. It may look like a guy like Bill Gates is not going to receive any karma for his wicked deeds. But I know better than that. I've seen the wicked be defeated by righteousness. It's just a lot of people don't have not only faith, but they don't even have the hope for something better. They want to be very pessimistic in the way they see society crumbling. But I'm like, good. I'm the type of person I'm like, bring this bitch down, please. You know, even though I live here and I'm grateful for my life. Well, we talked about the other day, right? Like, why are you paying to live on a fucking planet that you was born on? So I feel like in order for something better to come along, something that's going to really bring about a one world order based on truth, based on the everlasting light that we've been graced with, we have to knock down all of the bullshit that's been set up, that's been planted here to keep us down.
I'm with you, man. I'm waiting for an asteroid to just take us out. For real. Like, dude, we fucked up this place so bad. It's so bad that, like, I'm ready for something to just take us out so we can start cleaning, give like the other people or other beings a chance. Because this shit is just, whoever's in power or like whatever the powers that be, it's just so lost right now. There's so much division. I honestly don't see, I hate to sound pessimistic, but I can't see us coming back. I don't see a leader where people are from both sides. They're going to be like, yeah, I can agree with that guy. It's going to be one side or the other, man. We have such polarizing opposites. So you got Trump and then you got Biden. And I think Trump's probably going to run again. It's a pendulum, man. It goes from one side to the next side. The one side never in the middle.
Let's talk
Never.
about that because he might run again, right? And Ron
Yeah.
DeSantis, I don't know if you know my governor,
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
call him Ron the Don because
Kiss the
he's-
rings, bitch.
I kind of like him. Listen, I'm not into politics. I could give a rat's ass. I've never voted in my life, but I do
Ditto,
like
yeah.
my governor. I ain't gonna lie. I like the man, not for who he is as a person, because I don't know him personally, but for the way he conducts himself. Because I got to tell you, a lot of shit that a lot of other people experience, like in your state, when it came to Gaga 19, we didn't experience none of that shit.
Right.
None of it, because he nipped that shit in
Right.
the bud everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, nope,
Yeah.
we're not doing that shit. He even had to school some young college kids. Like, he's like, oh, y'all still wearing masks? Come on now. Come on. Like, what are we doing right now? And then, a couple people took their mask off and stuff because he don't go with the bullshit. He's going to supposedly be running for president.
Really? I think he has a good chance. Yeah, I heard a lot of people
he
like
has
him.
a great
Of how
chance.
he handles COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a great chance. He has a
He's
wonderful
young
chance.
too. That's the one thing that I want. Someone who's fucking young, dude. Not like the average age of 85. Get out of here.
But let me ask you a question. What do you think's going to happen if Trump runs again? Like, what do you think is going to happen in this country? Because when he
You
ran
think
the
it's
last
divided
time,
now?
when he ran the last time, and I just have to call it what it is. I live in Florida. There's a lot of racism here. All right. I've
Yeah.
experienced it myself, right? Obviously, I'm a melanated man. I come from Puerto Rican culture. My family's from Puerto Rico, right? So some people call me a sand nigger. Some people call me a spick, whatever.
Horrible.
I'm a spiritual being having a physical experience, so I could give a rat's ass about what people think about me.
Exactly.
But what I did see was a lot of so-called white people really puffing their chest out, like ready to fuck shit up. Like that guy that
It's
gets too much
legalized to
liquor.
be racist. Yeah, dude. They're dumb.
They get that
man.
liquid courage without even drinking liquor. You know what I'm talking about? So the reason I ask you is,
For sure.
what do you think is going to happen if he does run again? Like, what do you think is going to start happening in the country when all of that starts to take its course?
Civil war, straight up. I think we go to a civil war, man.
Really?
I mean, we're already on the brink of it. We're close. People hate each other. People are on edge. You can't even say shit on the internet now without getting like cancel cultured. You know what I mean? Like you'll lose your fucking job over it. When Trump runs, I'm almost for certain he will. Like it's gonna be horrible. There will probably be a civil war because Democrats are not gonna put up with that shit. They're already not putting up with him getting reinstated back on Twitter. That's just Twitter.
Yeah, I heard that the charges that they brought on him for tax fraud, have now been suspended. A judge suspended that case. So now that case is not going to move forward yet. So there's a great chance that he'll be able to run, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to put a roadblock for him to not run, like have him in a trial, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
So that
Yeah.
way he can't run for presidency because he has to deal with the trial. But now that trial got suspended, so they might have something else in the works. But honestly, what I think is going to happen based on my research is that this particular winter, there's going to be a lot of fucked up shit happening
I
to
bet,
where it's
yeah.
almost going to have to leave Biden in office, where it's going to kind of suspend everything. They almost tried to do it when Gaga 19 first came out, where they was like, if there's if the country's on a shutdown, then there can't be elections.
Right.
So I think that there might be a great catastrophe. And I'm not prophesizing. I'm just saying that I'm looking at it from different angles.
Wouldn't surprise me, man.
And I'm thinking some great weather tragedy or catastrophe that puts things and spirals things into such a big chaos that now the government has to focus on this so we can't focus on elections.
Perhaps a nuclear attack overseas or something that gets us involved or
Well,
something.
What about the nuclear attack that they're predicting that's going to happen in New York City, right? That they put those nuclear videos
That was
out.
strange.
Yeah.
That was real weird,
That
right?
was, listen, I grew up in New York. We ain't never seen no shit like that.
No, dude.
And they
And it
said
was
go
such
inside your home.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Dude, get inside your home and go on, like, stay away from windows. Okay, thanks. This blast is gonna fucking blow up. Like, what? The state's gonna be gone.
And that's the crazy thing is that when they were saying that, I'm like, do they realize that a nuclear blast will turn everybody into dust?
Bro, I'm going outside with sunglasses on. Fuck you. I'm not going inside.
It's like a nuclear blast is gonna turn everybody into dust. Literally,
Yeah, man.
the radiation alone within seconds.
They were
Will
so happy,
completely
like
obliterate.
in that commercial too, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what you call it, but they were like,
It was an
"Just make sure that you
educational
go
video.
Educational video. Make sure you go inside, lock your doors, and don't go by windows." Smiling the whole time, like, bitch, it's a nuclear attack. Like, what? No one's smiling.
Lay
No
in your
one's
bathtub.
smiling.
If you could lay in your bathtub, lay in your bathtub.
If you lay in your bathtub, yeah, make sure you have cold water running on you. You'll be good.
Put your North Face on. Oh,
And your mask, dude, and your mask. Hey, that's one thing I was kind of conspiratorial about. Like, when this first happened and they wanted us all to wear masks, I was like, I wonder if they're just covering up your face so they can have, like, so they're scanning your eyes. So they know, like, so all these cameras and shit, like, know what you look like from here on up, right? Just get your eyes.
You're right. You're spot on because they were doing that. They continue to do that. They do it through our phones with the facial recognition for password protection. It's interesting you brought that up because one of the things that I was a major supporter of in bringing out in the truth community through my platforms, and I said this because, I grew up in New York City. I'm like, you're telling people in New York City that they can wear a mask all day? I was like, you know how many people are going to get robbed?
Yeah, dude.
And ever since the mask mandate first came out until present day, mind you, present fucking day,
still,
we're talking about a 2.5 years later.
How long was it supposed to be for?
People are still getting robbed.
Yeah.
With people having masks on. So I can literally walk around with a mask, stick you up, and walk down the street like nothing happened, and a cop can be driving by and is not going to know any better because of the mask mandate. Or not even the mask mandate, right? Because a lot of the mask mandate's been lifted, but what are people doing? They're wearing masks everywhere they go.
Of course.
Especially for the stick-up kids. They're like, oh, I'm going to stay wearing a mask all day.
I'll tell you where my mindset was when this shit first happened, when COVID, like, the world shut down, right? So we're like maybe 3 days to a week in after the world shut down. I went to the grocery store one time. It was pure panic and chaos. And there was no toilet paper. There was no meat. There was no nothing, right? There was like bare minimums. It was dry bone. The next day I went back to my grocery store, I fucking brought a pistol with me, man. I would never, ever, ever do that in a million years. I have a gun. It's registered to me. I'm allowed to have it. But I felt so I don't know what I was feeling, man. Like, I didn't trust anybody. Like, this brought us back to, like, the caveman. Like, someone's just going to whack me and take my goods because we're running out of shit. So I felt like I had to have a piece on me. Going into a fucking grocery store. Now that I look back at it, I'm insane. But that's how much fear they instilled in the average citizen. It was over every network, man. Like, if you catch this shit, you're going to die. You will die.
Are they
crazy
in Chicago? Because I know in certain places in New York, they still want you to wear a mask, unfortunately. Because a lot of times what business owners do is they're like, oh, it's subject to my discretion. So if I want people to wear masks, I have the right to do that. Do they still do that in Chicago, in the metropolitan area?
The chiropractor, you still have to wear a mask. If you go to a doctor, you still have to wear a mask. Not corporate stores like a Dick's Sporting Goods or anything like that, like a Target, grocery store, you don't have to. Apparently, you have to wear one if you're riding a bike by yourself down the street, which I just saw today, had a mask on. Some dude had a mask on just riding a bike. Like, no one... I don't live by many houses, man. This guy just had a mask on riding his bicycle. Like, what are you doing?
I see it all the time, man, especially out here in Florida. You know, it's hot, man. It's humid. And I see people
Yeah.
walking around, like literally walking, not in their cars, but walking. And then you got the people in their cars without their mask on, but they got air conditioning. I mean, with their mask on, they got air conditioning. But when you see somebody walking in 98-degree weather, which really is like 103, 105 with humidity, I'm just like, you're killing yourself. You're literally killing yourself. Because when
The
you're
fear.
when you're breathing in
Yeah.
what you're
Carbon
exhaling,
monoxide.
yeah, you're literally killing yourself slowly. You know?
The fear that they have instilled in people that it still resonates, like it's still lingering to this day. Like that's what happened. That's how serious and how destructive this was. That 2 years after the fact that people are still wearing masks. Like, dude, if you're wearing a mask and you blow hard, I tell people to do this all the time. Blow hard. Like I put my hand right here by their face. I can feel your breath. It's not doing shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's not doing a damn thing. You know, those masks, what they were originally created for is when you're performing surgery.
Yeah.
And that way you don't contaminate the body that you're working on. And also, like if and I've been in these types of wards and I've seen them. One of my friends that I grew up with, his mother was AIDS registered nurse for AIDS patients. So when you go into certain wards like cancer, HIV, or whatever, you would have to wear those masks so that you don't infect with your germs the people within
Right.
that place. That's it. And it doesn't prevent an airborne disease or an airborne viral attack. It doesn't prevent any
Right.
of that. And that's all been proven. The sad part about it, though, is that you have so much information readily available and people are still deaf, dumb, and blind. And the amount of people that are passing away, this sudden death syndrome that's happening right now, it's insane. It's happening all over the world. We talked about it on your show the last time I was on your show. Like, it's still going on. Like right now, as we speak, there are people literally dying and dropping dead out of nowhere. People your age, my age, especially people in our age groups, like anywhere from like 18. I heard the statistics earlier today. The numbers from 18 to 49 years old are something that not only this world, but especially this country has never seen before. And what coroners are seeing within people's bodies. I did a show. If you ever get a chance, check it out. For those that are tuned into the Instagram, I did a show called Jello Blood. If you ever get a chance, check it out. It's part of season 4. It's the earlier episodes of season 4. But Jello Blood is something that they're trying to keep on the wraps. A lot of people that have taken the science appliance have blood that's calcified, that it literally looks like Jello. So when they're doing these autopsies, they're seeing this calcified blood, and then they're seeing these blood clots form that look alien-like. Like they look like the aliens from Alien vs. Predator. Like that's what they look like, squids. You know? And it's like you're seeing this over and over. And then you're also seeing the graphene oxide, which what that's doing is creating these metallic pores that are growing within the human host. And I seen I don't know what the medical term is, but you know when they put that tube down your throat to see your insides of your body? Well, a doctor or nurse, and she was brave because she literally recorded it to show it on social media and on YouTube. And she literally showed a scan of a guy's throat. And inside his throat, the graphene oxide was growing like little metallic orbs coming out of the skin. And it was literally filling up his throat. And that was what's causing him to have respiratory problems. This graphene oxide shit, this black goo like venom, like the venom goo, this shit is alive inside of people's bloodstreams and is causing major complications. And this is the thing. It's all being documented. All of it. But like I said before, And I don't understand it. And this is one of the reasons why I've been censored, because I started talking about this before a lot of other people on my show. I've been shadow banned because of this. I talked about it and I brought it on my show where I actually showed the document and read it through. How is it that people, when this shit first came into the fold and people started seeing this shit and being introduced to it, you actually had a form that told you that here, if you take this, you can possibly die. Your nuts can fall off. You know what I mean? You can lose your vision. You can get Bell palsy and many other adverse reactions. And I'm like, people still signed off on that shit and took it.
Yeah. The thing that doesn't make sense to me is that, like, why aren't people thinking that if something does go wrong, why the companies won't take responsibility? Like, their hands are clean. Like, if you die, it's not our fault. We didn't force you to take the vaccine. It's on you.
Oh, you said the V word, brother. You said the V word. You might as you. Hopefully YouTube doesn't flag this, but it is what it is. No, I'm serious. Like, it's really that bad. And listen, it's not that I care that you said it. It's just that I know how these algorithms work, bro. And you'd be surprised. It's like, even sometimes when I speak cryptically, I feel like they figured that shit out too, man. You know what I mean? Because I've been striked for certain things, but it is what it is.
The censorship that we go through, it's insane.
It's one of the reasons why I started the TV network, because it's like, at least with the TV network, it's private servers. So at least that's not going to get censored. You know what I mean? Which is a beautiful thing. And I hope that with time, that this thing with the censorship lets up, but I don't think it will. But I hope it does.
It's so maddening that you can't even use that word. You know what I mean?
Like, you can't. Like, I've seen this lady today where she was like, you know, somebody took the, she was like, and she went like this because she knows she's on YouTube. So she knows that if she says the word, she's going to probably have that. Bro, I had 5 accounts suspended in a 3-month period, 90 days, 5 accounts canceled for life that I can never sign into again. And then I had followers that I had to lose and started this one that I have now that we're broadcasting on. The only reason why it's still up and active is because of the way I talk. If I didn't speak like that, I would not be able to have this channel. It'd just be a waste of time.
So is this about the last podcast we had when I was talking about how there's a consolidation of like corporations? So there's like a few giant juggernaut corporations running the show. So it's like it falls under this umbrella of what can be said and what cannot be said.
Yeah, the community guidelines. And they're always updating the fucking community guidelines. I can't even talk about transgenderism in a certain way. It has to be very kind of like, I can talk about it, but I have to speak about it cryptically.
So you have to talk about that cryptically, but we're supposed to use made up words to accommodate them.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. That makes sense.
You know, I don't really come across these types of people often or really much at all these days. But I said to myself, if I come across somebody like this and they try to push that pronoun on me, I'm going to be like, listen, I prefer to be called the most interesting man in the universe. You know, you have to refer to me as that, because why I identify as the most interesting man, not one of the most. I am the most interesting man in the entire universe. Address me that way. Or don't talk to me at all, you know?
How do you think that conversation would go? What would they say? What do you think?
Who knows? Listen, a lot of them are unstable to begin with, right? So it doesn't surprise me that they go into these temper tantrums, because when you're being injected with a bunch of different drugs on a daily basis, that's usually what happens. It's a psychosis that was taken out of DSM-5 for a reason. because it's part of that depopulation plan. That's why all of this stuff is being pushed. Anything that goes against humanity, if you notice, is being glorified as something good for the sake of liberalism and hypersensitivity. But what it really, the reason why it's being catered in that fashion is because of depopulation. Because if you get a lot of people that can't really reproduce, what does that do? That lowers the population down. That makes it less for us to procreate. That makes it less people procreating. So it brings down the numbers. That's what all of this shit.
Have you heard Elon Musk saying that we have a population issue where we don't have enough people?
No, that's interesting. So he said the opposite. He said we don't have enough people on the planet.
Yeah, so that's why he has like 9 kids, and he keeps on going. And he keeps pressing like everyone needs to have kids because we have a deficiency.
Well, I mean, yeah,
strange, right?
I mean, honestly, I think that people should be procreating. I think people should have kids, but responsibly. You know what I mean? I don't think that kids should be having kids because that's the big problem now. And you got a lot of kids growing up without fathers, like me. I grew up without a father. So that's not healthy for any child, whether it be male or female, but especially a male. Especially, matter of fact, no, especially for both male and female. A girl needs her father and a son needs his father. Mom cannot play masculine and feminine, but that's what you have now. And that's why a lot of these kids are twisted. But that's all by design. It's really, a lot of these things are not our fault. A lot of these things have been forced upon us, especially in the United shenanigans of America. I mean, it's been forced upon us with almost everything. Even the technology has been forced upon us. Like, put it like this. That's another thing I wanted to ask you. What do you think about all these Walmarts that are shutting down?
Walmarts? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. A lot of Walmarts are closing down.
No, I didn't know about that. What's happening?
Well, 2 things. One, they're saying because when the pandemic first came in, it really hurt the economy. So a lot of these stores got shut down because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And are getting shut down because of the lack of people to man them and the lack of resources based on what happened in the pandemic. But, and this was brought out in the 90s, late 90s, it said that, and this is supposed conspiracy theorists, that a lot of these so-called Walmarts are shutting down because they're going to be used as FEMA camps.
Used as what?
FEMA camps.
What's a FEMA camp?
A FEMA camp is the federal, Federal Emergency, damn, I can't remember what FEMA means. I have to look it up.
I never heard of it.
Well, FEMA are the people that come out.
Federal Emergency Management Agency.
There you go. I'm over here looking it up. I'm a little slow.
Yeah.
So they're the people that whenever there's a major catastrophe or there's some type of martial law that goes into effect, these people are the ones that take over. Just like whenever those Hurricane Harvey and those Hurricane Katrina, FEMA was in control of everything. So a lot of these Walmarts are used as FEMA stations, housing stations for people to go to. So there's a great possibility that a lot of these places are being closed down to be set up as FEMA sites.
I think it'd be a great idea to have that for homeless people, because that's a real problem. I mean, Jesus, man. So who would be staying at these Walmarts?
Honestly, I would tell you that the lost sheep, the deaf, dumb, and blind, because if you go into one of those camps, you're not going to make it out.
Jesus.
They're going to have you on lockdown. Look at what they did to the children that were taken from their parents on the Mexican border.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm talking about, where
I
it's like
got you.
you're in a camp, you got to sleep on the floor or in a sleeping bag or whatever they have for you, in a cage. They're probably going to want you to take the science appliance in order to stay there. I mean, put it like this, man. For thousands of years, we were able to live off the land and live somewhat peacefully. Yes, we are war at times, but a lot of our cultures live peacefully, which we are capable of doing. The problem is that we've been indoctrinated to believe that we need to be guided by this government, like a governing body of people that constantly show you that they don't give a fuck about you or shit about you, but yet we believe that we need them in order to live our lives. And I think once people realize that they don't need these people to live their life in harmony, that's when you'll see a significant change.
Do you think we need a little bit of government, a little bit of governance?
No, and not at all. I think that we can govern ourselves based on spirituality. See, that's the big part that's missing, is that we are not seeing each other for our true essence, man. If we were to see each other for our true essence, many of us would work together to live in harmony. That's just a fact. But I believe that one day that will happen. I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime or your lifetime, but I know that in order for that to come about, a place like this, like the United States, has to come down. It has to fall. This is the only country that hasn't gone through a major, major calamity where everything gets completely collapsed, like other countries have gone through.
You heard about like the thing that happens the most right before a collapse of the economy or the civilization is people get weird about their gender.
Really?
Did you hear about that? Yeah.
No, I didn't
Happened
know
in
that.
Rome. Happened in a bunch of other countries right before collapse. Like started getting real weird about genders and things that like shouldn't even really fucking matter, to the point that we're putting an emphasis on. So they're seeing a lot of similarities of what happened prior to what's happening currently right now before a major collapse. And I mean, if you look at the state of the USA, you would think that we're about to collapse because everything is like falling apart around us, right? Everyone's divided. I mean, the US dollar is probably going to crater here really soon and not be the reserve currency. I mean, the way I see it is something has to happen. You can't just print all this money and nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It has to.
It is happening as we speak, because
it is happening, right?
Just like in Rome, the infrastructure was torn down little by little. A lot of people don't realize this. Rome didn't fall in one day. It took Rome a good 10 to 15 years to fall. It started 15 years prior, where the infrastructure slowly but surely got debilitated and taken out. And then eventually it all came collapsing. You know? Yeah. And like a Caesar, Caesar was one of those people that was very confident, very egotistical to think that the Caesar reign was just going to last forever. But it doesn't. Like us. Exactly. It doesn't. But one thing too that's happening too with the science appliance, the reason why I talk about it so much, because the science appliance, man, it is literally restructuring people's DNA. So what you're having by having these people have this within their bloodstream is you're having like a whole new species of human now. It's a whole new species that's evolving from this, especially with the people that are having, if they can have the child, that are actually having successful births under the influence of the science appliance being in their bloodstream, being passed on to these kids now that are being born. How many
science appliances are we at now?
Man, the last I heard, it was over 3 billion.
Really?
Yeah. But, those numbers could be a little off. They could be a little low. They could be a little high. It depends, on where the source is coming from. But according to resources, there's people at least with one Siam appliance or two, and it's over 3 billion in the world's population. But you also have to account for all the people that are dropping.
True.
Every single day since it was first introduced. I mean, the numbers are insane. And for some reason, I don't know how the hell they're doing this. And I guess it's because they're just not leaking it. But the commercial media is like, they're keeping this shit under the wraps in commercial media for some reason. They're doing such a good job for it being exposed. It's like they reveal some of it, but then they take some of it back. They put a little bit of spin on it. And I think that the biggest problem here in the United States, from what I've seen, especially here in Florida and other places I've been to, is the level of apathy, man. It's like people are not going to take any of this stuff that we're talking about seriously until it comes knocking on their door and saying, here, I'm here to fuck up your life now. And they're going to be like, oh shit, what do I do now? You know what I'm saying? But meanwhile, people have been telling them, get dehydrated food, do this, don't do that, get some more alkaline in your diet. Don't allow, get this radiation protection from you. Don't do this, don't jerk off, don't do that. And people are still jerking off. You know what I'm saying? Until it comes knocking at their door, all that drama that was being shown to them, and people were messengers bringing them that truth to say, hey, this shit is real. They're like, yeah, okay. But until it comes knocking on the door, they're not going to take it seriously. And I did a show a long time ago called They Won't Become Believers Until It's Too Late.
It's like a teenage mentality right there. It's like ego or something. I don't know what's driving that, but it's like, I won't die. Nothing can kill me. I'm invincible. Like, it won't happen to me. Won't happen to me. I don't know if that's teenage or if that's our culture, because like I've said, I've never been anywhere else in the world, but that could be ego driven, that it's not going to happen to you. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely, brother. That's what the ego stands for. I remember I was told this a long time ago. It says, you know what ego stands for? Edging God out. It's like you become your own God. You got a lot of people thinking that they're gods, thinking that, you're the captain of your soul. That's where freedom of will is. But we are not gods. You know what I mean? We are an expression of the Most High, which is the omnipotent. But that level of creation, you can only begin to understand. And a lot of people think they got it down packed. They're like, oh, I meditate and I travel. You know what I'm saying? I astral plane. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't make you a god. I think a lot of people are so into self-worship. But the scriptures talks a lot about people worshiping false idols and people worshiping themselves, which is vanity. That's why one of my favorite movies. Have you watched Devil's Advocate?
Is that with Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. Al Pacino plays Satan.
Yeah.
Bro, it's one of my favorite movies, man. I did a breakdown. I'm gonna do another breakdown with a good brother of mine, an older brother that he's gonna be breaking down some scriptures with me on my TV show about that movie. And he says vanity is my favorite sin, man. It's that sin right now that a lot of people are practicing when it comes to, like what you were saying, social media.
Yeah.
Social media is the playground for the narcissist, man.
Oh, 100%, man. Everyone on there is so vain. Like, not everyone, most people on there are so vain. Right? It's incredible.
A clinical psychologist said that she's like, before, the narcissist would have to get up out of their bed and go outside to seek validation. Now she says the narcissist fucking wakes up out of their bed, gets a cup of coffee, and goes in front of their computer screen or cell phone, and they get they get an abundance of validation from the comfort of their own home.
Where does that lead, man? Where does that life lead, though, ultimately? Like, you're getting these dopamine hits now. It ain't going to last forever. It seems like a sticky road to like depression and some mental issues. I mean, where does that lead to?
But look at where it's leading to. It's leading to a whole generation of narcissists. Like a lot of these kids are being born and bred through social media to be full-blown narcissists by the time they're 10 years old. So imagine that 10-year-old at 21, at 30.
Jet fuel. There's jet fuel, baby. Yeah, man. Everything that when I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling down, all I see are like these girls just showing off their body at 15, 16. I'm like, bro, act like you've seen your body before. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy, the things they're doing, man.
What do you think is worse? A 15-year-old showing off her body or a 55-year-old showing off her body saying, guess how old I am? And then wearing lingerie.
True. Facts.
And then the whole thing with twerking too. You know what pisses me off, man?
Everything like me about it.
No, but with the twerking, you know what pissed me off about the twerking?
What?
Is they get so many views and they get so much support. And I bust my ass to bring quality information. And I'll be lucky if sometimes if I get 10 or 15 likes or subscribers to my network.
It's called the TikTok mentality, right? Do the least amount of work to become famous or be validated. The least amount of work. So what is it? Showing off your body. You don't got to say shit. You just wear something skanky and post it. You'll get validation. And hopefully someone picks you up and shows it on a major Instagram page. And now all of a sudden you get a bunch of followers. I don't know what they think mass followers will do for them. I mean, you still have to have a business set mind, which a lot of them clearly don't. But you have to, like, just because you have followers doesn't mean you're going to get famous or bring in the income. Doesn't.
Absolutely. You know, it's one of those things, man, where I'm like, it's that same type of mentality, even for people my age, that they're suffering from, to where it's like, you talked about this about dating. It's like dating now it's a fucking job that a lot of people don't want to sign up for, man.
For sure.
Because you got to deal with this narcissistic type of people and you got to kind of cipher to find something good. And it's like, who has the time or patience for that? You know what? I got to date 100 different women to find one good one. And that might not even be a possibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I bring up this story a couple times. I was at a bar after a softball game and I was just hanging out with the boys. And this girl comes up to our table, starts talking with each guy. Then she gets to me and we hit it off. She was cute. And you don't ask for people's numbers anymore, man. She asked for my fucking Instagram account. She asked for my Instagram account. I'm like, do you want to go on a date? She's like, yeah, you could take me out. I'm like, okay, what's your number? And she said, no, just give me your Instagram. And it was at that moment, dude, where I'm like, the game has completely changed. Like, I'm out of my element. I don't even know what to do. Instagram account? What am I going to do with this? And then I went to her page, dude, and it was just like the narcissism. It was all body pictures of her in bathing suits all the way down, man. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Jesus.
So what when she asked for your did you give her your Instagram account?
I did. She was hot, dude.
And see, that's what we got to be careful with, is that lustful desire when somebody looks good. Because listen, I've been victim of this as well. So I'm preaching to myself and to everybody listening. Just because somebody looks good don't mean they're a good person. And chances are they're the most shittiest person ever. You know, the person that really is attractive, not all the time, but a lot of attractive people, when it comes to that vanity, they don't have no substance. They don't have no depth to who they are as a person. So all you're really getting is that exterior with nothing else.
Yeah. Preach. You know? Facts. Straight up, man. Yeah, my type of woman is like someone that's kind of like doesn't want to be the center of attention. Kind of like
You want a
tucked
woman
away
that
a little bit. Can keep
that
a conversation but tucked away, right?
You want a meek woman, a woman that practices meekness. That's
Yeah.
something that I can appreciate nowadays too. Absolutely.
I appreciate the hell out of it, man. Like she doesn't gotta impress anybody. She knows what she's doing. She's got confidence. She can just stick to herself, and she just knows. She knows. She doesn't gotta show off her body for anybody.
Yeah.
Because you see too much of that shit now, man. It's like overplaying a song you like. Like you fucking kill it. Like you don't want to hear that song anymore. I just played it 40 times in a row. Give me something else now. Even though I love the song, I just overplayed it and killed it.
Yeah.
Give me something else.
And let me ask you this. Do you feel like you can get to know somebody these days through conversating with them on social media or on like a FaceTime? Because that's what I thought, but boy, was I wrong.
No, especially not through text or social media. FaceTime, I don't know. I don't really FaceTime too much. I think it's hard to even like get into relationships face to face nowadays, just because people are afraid to say who they really are because of fear of getting judged. Because everyone's so polarized with like the Republican Democrat. You know, it's like I don't want to say something to make them not like me because I like this person a lot, so I'm gonna shy away and just keep it generic. That's where I think we're at right now, unfortunately.
Well said, bro. Well said. I mean, you hit on something that I really didn't understand until you just said it, but you're absolutely right. Like and I mean this was something that I was going through in the late 90s, early 2000s, was like you walk on eggshells when you're dating, where it's like you don't want to say something that might upset the person that you're trying to get to know.
Yes.
And you don't want to come
problem.
off a certain way. And that, I got rid of that though, because I'm at the point now, I'm going to be 45 years old. I don't got time to worry about if you're going to get upset about something I say, because if you do, and it's not hurting you, and it's not towards you, and it's not a derogatory comment, then what the fuck are we talking about? And if that's how you feel, then that's a red flag for me. Like, okay.
I wish we had that mentality back when we were young, man. We could avoid a lot of bullshit, right? A lot of bullshit could be avoided if you have the mindset we have now, going back earlier.
Oh, let me tell you, if I had the mindset I have now, I would have never dumped one of my ex-girlfriends. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I was too caught up in ego and too traumatized from baby mama drama at the time.
Yeah.
And I had a great woman. I mean, she even had the same last name as me. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't even have to like legally marry her. She already had my last name. Wonderful woman. And because of my ego, because of my selfishness, and because of my insecurity, I wound up leaving her behind. And it was a bad, bad decision. And knowing what I know now, oh man, I would have never left that woman.
Do you think we do this stuff unintentionally, on purpose? Because it seems like when you look back at it, man, it's like, why would you possibly leave that person? Why would you possibly leave that person? Doesn't make sense. But it's a way to grow and understand who you truly are, what you're looking for. So, I mean, it's complicated. It's complex. There's different ways you can look at this. But I just feel like sometimes we self-sabotage on purpose, man.
Oh, absolutely. And that comes from the insecurity, because a lot of times we'll meet somebody great, like I did with that one female back in when I was like 20, I was 27 or 20. Yeah, I was 27 when I met Mercedes. And it's that lack of self-esteem, that low self-esteem where you don't feel worth it, and you'll feel like the other person's too good for you, or they're too nice. And it's like, you start looking at yourself like you're a piece of shit. And that's what happened with me. I was like, damn, I'm a piece of shit. I almost wound up cheating on this woman. And that was one of the reasons I broke up with her.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I was fucked up. And I was. I didn't heal from the trauma that I was dealing with dealing with the baby mama drama and having a kid with somebody I shouldn't have had a kid with. That wasn't planned.
Yep.
Was it, you could call it a mistake. I know some people don't call your daughter a mistake, but definitely a mistake getting with this woman, and I had to suffer greatly for it. But the suffering is really good because it strengthens you. It helps you to grow.
It does.
And that whole thing about if I could go back in time, I mean, it's a wonderful concept. It's a wonderful idea to want to go back in time and do things differently. But if that was the case, then we would. But it's not. It's like whatever we go through and whatever shortcomings or transgressions we have, all we can do is learn from it and become better human beings moving forward in the present and for the future too.
I actually appreciate you for saying mistake about when you got your girl pregnant, because a lot of times, man, this happens almost like 100% of the time. I'll meet a girl, has a kid, and there's no baby daddy, but the way they justify the fuck out of this just drives me insane. Like, yeah, well, if I didn't meet so-and-so, the guy's name, I would have never had my baby, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Okay, I understand that. But you don't think that you would have had a kid with someone that you're still with? That kid wouldn't make you happy? You'd probably be happier if you were together and had a kid.
Absolutely, yeah.
The justification just drives me kind of batty, man. Of like, yeah, well, if I wouldn't have met him and slept with him and had this kid, I would have never had this kid. You wouldn't have known that kid if you would have stayed together with another person and had a kid. And you'd be happier because you're in a relationship where your kid has a dad. So that's one little thing that kind of drives me batty. I understand you have to, it's your situation. You have to justify it whatever you can to deal with the circumstances. That's how you deal with it. Cool. But I like being a realist. I like being like, tell it how it is, please. Just don't hide over these things. Just don't hide. So I appreciate you saying how it really is.
You know what the big problem with this country is, or this corporation? Fucking accountability, man.
Yeah,
accountability is a major.
Sir. Yes,
I think,
sir.
matter of fact, I think accountability is probably what's going to bring this country down, is the lack of it, because I'm seeing it everywhere.
Everywhere.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it in the work environment. I'm seeing it in the social dynamic of just people. I'm seeing it in relationships. I'm seeing it with kids, especially. Kids are not holding themselves accountable for shit.
Yeah.
And when you have a society that doesn't want to have any accountability, it's like responsibility goes out the window. And it's just a fuckfest of egos running around thinking that they could do whatever they want and keep making. That's why you had this baby mama drama, right? Because you have girls that are getting pregnant and are not being accountable for their actions, and neither is the male. And then you got something like child support, which to me is the new era of the welfare system. Child support.
I'm paying it.
Hey, I paid it. Okay, I'm owed $10,000 that I'm probably never going to see for child support that's owed to me for when I had custody of my child.
But when it comes to you, you got to pay up right away.
Oh, bro, I remember owing $500. Listen,
bro.
I remember being $500 in the rears, and I had freaking I think it was a sheriff or a state trooper coming to my house knocking on my door. And meanwhile, this woman lives in New Jersey, and ain't nobody bothering her. She's just a bum, and she's allowed to be a bum with no accountability, bro.
Yep.
None whatsoever. I've already chalked it up that I'm never going to see that 10 grand. I'm lucky that I saw 5 of it, because it was at one point at 15,000. But she filed the tax return. Man. She filed the tax return, so I got a nice chunk I got all of that tax return. But then she wised up and was like, you know what? I'm just going to be a bum. I'm not going to work at all. That's what she does.
People aren't making you be accountable.
None.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to take accountability for yourself. But if there's things in place. Let's say like the government has these things in place to where you don't have to take accountability and still get paid out. A lot of people aren't going to take accountability. They're not. There's no reason for them to do that. They can just chill on their couch and get a paycheck.
Isn't that what a lot of people are doing right now? Especially when the pandemic,
doing that, bro.
The pandemic, you know what the pandemic did too? Is that it made a lot of these people with menial jobs be like, what am I doing with my life? Do I want to stay working at Burger King for the next 10 years? Nah, I don't want to do
more
that.
just to quit.
Yeah. Do I want to do this shitty job that I'm doing? No, let me do something else. And listen, I salute all those people that actually held themselves accountable for how they was living their life and what they were doing and say, you know what? I can do better than this shit. And that's why you got a lot of people working from home now and a lot of entrepreneurs that are coming up. It's a lot of entrepreneurs that are coming up. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Accountability, man. That's huge. That's one thing that I pride myself on. Even when I was like little, like I would get shit on so much, man, because I would say like, if I broke a window, I'm like, yeah, I broke it. Fuck. Sorry. Oh man, I feel bad. I'll get grounded for like 3 weeks. But I would always take accountability. Even if there was like 3 of us, 3 of my friends and me, and we did some bad shit, like I would take the blame. I would. Just who I am. Like because I know I can handle it. I know I'm mentally strong enough to handle whatever punishment comes my way, and I'll be able to get back up. I'll grow from it. I'll be cool. I'll be good. I know my purpose.
You know why you have accountability? Because you have empathy.
I think I have too much empathy, bro.
Well, but see, that's what the narc is. The narc is the person that doesn't have empathy. Narcissism is lack of empathy.
Yikes.
And that's why you have an increase in narcissism in this country, because you have a lot of people that have no accountability because they don't even give a shit to have accountability. Because in order to have accountability, you got to care about somebody else like you care about yourself.
Yeah. That's crazy to me, man.
That's what the scripture says. Do unto others as they do unto you. You know what I'm saying? Treat your brother like you want to be treated. Treat your sister like you want to be treated.
Bro, that's my philosophy. That is my methodology of life, man. Just like how I want to be treated, I'm going to treat everybody else. Unless you are a dickhead to me, then guess what? Like, I'm going to give it back just how you are giving it to me. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt when we first meet. I'm going to be nice to you. I'm nice to everybody. I'll give my shirt off for anybody. Until you step on my toes and I see that you're a bad person, you don't get this empathetic Jay anymore. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah, don't lose that empathy, because that's what makes you human. That's what makes you normal, or let's just say extraordinary in these ordinary times that we live in, where everybody's just so out for self that and I'm seeing a lot with the kids, man. And I seen it with my own child, you know, where I think she's outgrowing it now, and now that she's 20, but I think it's going to take a lot of time. I don't think it's something that's just going to happen overnight, but I'm seeing a lot of the younger generation where it's like anything that they do is somebody else's fault. Anything that goes wrong, well, somebody else. It wasn't my problem. You know, somebody made me do it, or I did it because of this and because of that. Instead of looking themselves in the mirror, and you'd be surprised, a lot of people that look at themselves in the mirror are not really looking into the mirror.
Oh, man.
And one thing I always say on my shows is that when I look into the mirror, you know what I see? I see a miracle. And I cherish that miracle. And I respect that miracle, because I know that at any given time, that miracle that I've been blessed to have that experience, to have this experience of the observer inside of a body and having an experience called life, is something to be cherished. And a lot of people are not seeing it for what it really is. They're seeing everything that they're told. They're seeing the physicality of it. That's why you got people that still believe that there's such thing as a white person, that there's such thing as a black person. when there is no such thing. Those are all codes. Those are all economic codes. Those are social statuses. Those are social constructs meant to divide people. But if people was to start to see each other as an actual spiritual being having a physical experience, the world would change overnight.
I agree with
because
that.
that has value. And you would
Gotta
have
have-
to hold yourself accountable for that.
Everybody's got to take acid, man, at the same time. Listen, you said something important about the how the kids aren't taking accountability, right?
Yeah.
Just look at who they're seeing on social media or who they're seeing on TV. They're seeing the adults, right? Like the Republicans, Democrats, going back to the politicians. What the fuck do? They blame it on other people. They don't take accountability. Why would our kids take accountability? They don't see it anywhere.
Great point.
They don't see it anywhere. Why would probably in their own house too? You got this dad that probably has a shit ass job and he's just, oh, my boss wants me to do this shit. It's not my problem. Why doesn't he fucking do it? Like, you know, those conversations, not taking accountability. Sponges, bro.
Big fucking problem, bro. Big problem. And it's one of those things where when it comes to accountability, it comes with humility.
For sure.
Like,
yeah.
You got to humble yourself. You know, you got to be able to not see yourself as this, you know, all-knowing person that can never be wrong. And I think the fact that there's such an ever-growing increase in narcissism is because people don't want to be wrong. Look at a perfect example is all the people that took the science appliance do not want to be told that, hey, you made a fucking mistake by taking that shit. I got people like that in my family to this day. I got people in my family that don't want me saying shit to them.
Yeah. Same here. Same here.
Just because they're saying, oh, he thinks he's on his high horse because he didn't take it. You know? And all I'm trying to say is, hey, you were warned. You made a fucking mistake. Own up to it. Be like, I fucked up. But they won't.
You won't ever get that.
They'll take it to the grave.
You won't ever get that. Yeah.
Because right now, there's a lot of people that are suffering off of that satanic serum right now. They're suffering as we speak, but they're not telling nobody. You ask them, hey, how you doing, man? I know you took that. You know, people been dying off of that shit. You know, you read the papers.
The grave, man. That's
they're like,
crazy.
no, yeah, man. I know, but I'm good. I'm man. I feel better than that. I think it actually helped me.
Just got over it. Just got over whatever you call it a couple weeks ago.
You ever met those people?
I don't know if you're allowed to say it on this channel or anywhere. The C word.
Nah, the C word. We call it Gaga 19, bro.
Just got over Gaga 19 2 weeks ago. I'm good though.
We call it the Gaga. But how many people have you met anybody that actually told you they feel better since they took it? They actually feel strong. I had one of my friends is
I feel strong.
my brother has this guy. He used to be his barber out in New York, and he actually told my brother, he's like, I actually feel better. I feel stronger. I feel healthier. I feel like it helped me. And I'm like, and I told my brother, I said, watch, let's see how he feels another year from now, another 2 years from now.
Right.
Because that's the thing, man. That shit could take 3 years to fuck you up.
True.
You could be perfectly fine for 3 years straight. Then all of a sudden, you at the grocery store, you know, picking some oranges, and next thing you know, you dropping on the floor.
I actually saw someone die about a month ago.
In
grocery
person?
shopping. What you just said, dude, they were in the aisle.
You saw it in person.
Picking crackers, and all of a sudden I hear like, call a medic. Like this dude just went down. Just went down. It was like midnight. It was midnight. I'm doing grocery shopping, and I hear it, and I walk by the aisle, and this dude's like on the ground, just toast, just gone. He's just gone. The paramedics came in trying to revive him. Gone. I was like, what the fuck just happened? I mean, I don't know what happened. He was a little bit older. I don't know if he took it or what.
Yeah, he probably did, bro. Because that sudden death syndrome shit is rampant.
Just dropped while grocery shopping at like midnight. Like, what's stressful about getting pancake mix at midnight? Nothing. Why are you dropping dead?
You got to ask yourself why, right? And I haven't seen it in person like you, but boy, if I seen it on social media, a hell of a lot. I've seen that shit a lot.
Yeah. It's kind of alarming, man. I see it in person. I was like, what? That was a weird experience. Because usually I'm empathetic, man. But when I saw that, because I know we all go, so I was just like, it's his time, I guess. Like something weird came over me. I was like, it's gonna be me sometime. I mean, that's just how he went down, I guess. But something weird came over me, man.
It reminds me of that movie Bird Box, bro.
I haven't seen it. I know it though.
Oh, you haven't seen that movie, huh? You should definitely check it out.
I know it though.
It's with Sandra Bullock, and it's a really good movie.
Yeah. Recommend?
What you asked me if I recommend it?
Yeah, you recommend that?
Oh, absolutely.
I see it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I recommend you watch Devil's Advocate again too. I just saw it.
I will.
I just saw it yesterday, and towards the end, he gives a breakdown of what society was going to become. Remember, this movie came out in 1997.
Yeah.
Everything that Al Pacino's character says, who's playing Satan, everything that he says was going to happen with people becoming their own emperors, self-entitled emperors, and all this other shit he said.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he said in the movie is playing itself out, present day.
Predictive programming, baby.
Everything. Right? Just, it's that spiritual warfare, man. It's that good versus evil that we're seeing nowadays more than ever, man. And a lot of people, because of the lack of accountability, don't want to recognize it for what it is. They're like, oh, people like in my family, like, oh, this is going to pass. The United States has gone through worse and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? Because the United States has never gone through a bunch of shit all at the same time. They've had increments of economy being bad. They've had racism. They've had riots, but they've had significant pockets throughout the ages on the history of this country of these things happening. But never has this country experienced all of those things happening all at the same time. And let's not get to mention that now you have Caca-19, which has never happened before. And now you have a science appliance that's never been seen before. And the amount of adverse reactions that people are having have never been seen before in the history of medical science.
Yeah, not to mention the wealth distribution is completely fucked right now. So you got your 1% like holding all the money.
That's right. We're seeing a slow evolution of the Hunger Games. That's another movie that I had you write down, right? That you need to watch.
That's right.
We're seeing an evolution of the Hunger Games evolving little by little, where you're starting to see this separation where the middle class is completely being wiped out. Where there's going to be, or what they would like it to be. I shouldn't say there's going to be because I don't even want to speak that into existence. But what they want to see is a society that is just extremely poor, and then a society that is extremely wealthy, and nothing in between.
There we go with that lack of empathy again from that 1%. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. Let us fight for it.
That's right.
Fight between each other for the goods. It's not their problem.
So I'm going to be closing out the show because we're about an hour and 45. And I want to keep it under 2 hours. Obviously, I could talk to you for another hour or so. But
yeah, man.
We'll definitely have you come back, right? You're not going to be a one-hit wonder on the network of awareness. But any last final comments for the show that you want to leave the listeners from around the world that are tuning in?
Yeah, just real brief. Just be yourself. Know who you are. Know your truth. Like we discussed this whole podcast, man. Take accountability. You'll see your life start to shapeshift for how you want it to be. Just go do some activities. Get that heart going. Do some yoga. Get into spirituality. Find yourself. Know who you are. Don't hide behind social media. Don't hide behind jewelry, the clothes you wear. Be you.
Well said. Well said. So people, you heard it from Jay Barone. Check out his podcast on Apple, Spotify, other podcast platforms where you can download his shows. His podcast is called The Curiosity Chamber. I am going to leave a link. Do you have any other sites besides your Instagram and your podcast? Any other sites you want to mention? Website, anything?
Just the Curiosity Chamber on Instagram. We're all good, baby. I appreciate it, Aura.
Not a problem. So let me play some of this theme music real quick so I can sign off here. So, all right, here we go. So, brothers and sisters, I want to thank everybody who tuned into this broadcast live. If you didn't get to tune into this live broadcast, download the show at networkofawareness.com, or you can follow me on any damn streaming platform in the world. And definitely check out the Curiosity Chamber. Listen to this show. I think we covered a lot. A lot of critical thinking conversation going on today. And like I always say, when you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. So don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel, brothers and sisters, because the light is and always will be within you. So light up the tunnel and find your way through the darkness. This is Aura the Informationalist with Jay Barone, saying peace, love, and light. And be aware, people. Be aware.
This concludes the Network of Awareness podcast. For more information on the Network of Awareness, please subscribe via email to our website, networkofawareness.com, and follow us on Spreaker.com or any other listening apps you use. For any questions about the NOA, email us at aura@networkofawareness.com. Thank you for listening to one of the fastest growing podcast shows on society and culture in America and abroad. When you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.